Hi, welcome to the Nocturnal Space Workshop. I'm Trezh and I'm cutting up these images for Monster Bash 2025. I'm sure you already know, but for Monster Bash you draw cards at random and then you build a monster based on what you get. You can watch Trent Holbrook's video for more information. That's where I downloaded the cards from. Okay, I'm just going to do what Trent did, which is pick head, body and limb half cards, pick a couple of wild cards, and then decide if I want to replace any of the half cards by picking a random remix card. It was all very vague about what the rules actually are. Horns! What the I think that's meant to be like fur or something, and then there's like all blood or something coming out of a fanged mouth, so that's what I'm going to go for. Furry with a fanged mouth and like blood and gore. I know what you're thinking. I could just cut this, decide I don't like it, and then edit it and do a different one. I'm not doing that because that's just not in the spirit of things. If you're going to do this, make sure you do it properly, keep it random. If you don't like it, just make another after. You can make more than one Monster Bash. Okay, what we got this time? Let's cut there. Oh, wow. Oh, wait a minute, that's the same one that Trent got. I don't want the same one that Trent got. Let me just do another one. Oh, wait, no, shit, what did I just say? Okay, stick to what you got. Skeleton. A tail? That's a lion's tail, right? And what's that? So before I go on to do the two wild cards, there is just one card that I'm not really sure about, and that's the skeleton body. Now that would be cool, I really like a skeleton body, but I did do Monster Bash last year and I got a skeleton body last year, so I don't want to do a skeleton body again this year. So I'm going to pick a remix card for that. Okay, get into focus. Okay, so it's like hunched over, animalistic, gangly limbs. Okay, that's cool, I can work with that. So for the wild cards. Okay, so I guess these are just to add a bit of flavour. We have a pussycat looking out of a window or something. Okay, and cocktail time. So for Monster Bash this year, I have a head that is furry with horns, and it's also got fangs and blood pouring out of its mouth. It seems to be kind of decimated and decayed with long gangly limbs, and it's kind of hunched over. And then it's also got, I think this is supposed to be where all the tendrils and stuff. Tendrils? Not tendrils, tendons. That's what we have in our bodies, not tendrils, we have tendons in our bodies. I think that's supposed to be where all like the veins and tendons are kind of like exposed and stuff. And it also has a tail of some kind. And yeah, looking out of a window. I'm not sure what to do with looking out. Is it looking out of a window? Is it looking in something? Who knows? Who knows? I mean, that's why it's got the question marks there. Who knows? But it also enjoys drinking. Now, what I'm thinking straight away, cocktails goes with the bloody maw. Maybe it's like collecting blood. Not for blood for the blood god, but maybe blood to make wine. So it's making some kind of like blood wine for the drinking gods or something. I don't know. We'll figure that out after. Also, speaking of furry face, I'm thinking of trimming my beard, maybe even cutting it off completely, so don't be surprised if halfway through this video I've suddenly come in and this is all gone. See if you can spot when it happens. First of all, I'm going to use this piece of wood as a base. I don't know where this piece of wood came from, but we have a bag full of them in a kitchen drawer. I've got a couple of these giant paper clips. I'm just going to bend these into shape to make a basic armature. I honestly don't know what shape I want it to be, or what position, what pose. So I'm just going to play around with it until I find a shape that I kind of like. To be honest, I was kind of thrown by the cat image. You see, that makes you want to just make it shaped like a cat. But obviously I don't want it to just be a cat. Although it has got a lion's tail as well. Now, the thing is that the cat in the image is kind of looking in through a window, and that makes me want to do something with like big eyes. If you've ever had a cat that goes out, then you'll be familiar with that when you're sort of sat in the living room or whatever, and then suddenly the cat appears at the window. We used to have a cat. Like many cats, it used to go out and come back and come and go as it pleases. Then one day it went out and it never came home. Now, they do say that all cats have like 3 homes. You know, they have the owner's homes and then a couple of others that they visit and so on. So I like to think that it decided to just go and live with one of those other homes because, well, you know, the alternative is pretty grim. But when the cat comes and jumps at the window, it just sits there and it stares at you. And it stares. And it stares. And follows you with its big cat eyes. So I think that's going to be a key part of it, is large eyes staring at you. Even though that's not on the thing for the head, the cat staring through the window is giving me that kind of like, it just sits there staring at you, waiting for you. This is the basic position. His body's going to be up like this, and then it's going to have one arm or front foot down on the floor. Then the other arm is going to be holding a little cup. A little cup saying, come on, I'm thirsty, let me in so I can drink your blood. The arms are going to be the tendrils, remember? The tendons, not tendrils. I keep saying tendrils. So super glue and a bit of bicarb soda. Got the second one, which is going to be the neck. I need to figure out what kind of head. Picked up a bag of skulls from the pound shop because I thought, you know, they might come in handy for something. Now, I know that looks slightly oversized to the armature as it stands, but that oversized head is going to make the eyes look oversized for the body. You know, for the staring in the window, staring at you, it's staring at you, it's staring at you. I need his mouth to be open. I keep saying him. Could be a girl monster. In fact, our cat that decided to go and live in one of its other homes, that was a female cat. She was called Stitch. We got from a cat home. What do they call them? Ooh, don't play with knives. I got from a rescue centre. Yes, we got the cat from a rescue centre, and she was already called Stitch. So we took her home, and we always called her Mrs. Stitch. So it's going to be a girl monster, and I'm going to be calling it Mrs. Stitch. Her. I'm going to be calling her Mrs. Stitch. So I just want to cut her mouth open. Hello. You know, the open bloody maw with the fangs. So I need to at least cut away the lower half of the jaw, the mandibles, or some of it, so then I can build out a jaw so all the fangs can fit in. Not too much though, because I want it to be slightly anthropomorphic, like a person, for the holding the cocktail glass, that it doesn't look too strange and out of place. That's going to be the tail there, so I'm just going to glue that into place. Ow, stabbed myself. I think before I go any further though, I need to make a start on the other arm, front leg, tendon, tendril thing. I just bent this paperclip into a rough... Oops. Okay, so I've just had an idea. The cocktail glass, instead of it being actually an actual cocktail glass that she's holding. Okay, bear with me on this. What if her head, if I like slice the top of the head off and then the skull becomes a cocktail glass? So and then the horns can like be bending around on the side, so you like hold the horns like handles on a cup, and then you drink. And so she bites onto you, drinks the blood, fills up the glass, which is a skull, and then you come along and go, "Thank you very much, my little familiar," and you drink the blood straight from it. I think that's kind of a cool idea. Right, just going to be doing a lot of green stuff in now, basically. So, talk amongst yourselves. Any excess will be going onto my texture roller, so one day I'll be able to make a wall. Right, that's pretty well mixed now. That'll do, I'm too lazy. When you're working with green stuff, Just use a little bit of petroleum jelly to grease up your sculpting tool. Because it's moving so smoothly over the top of the green stuff, you can press on quite hard and it just doesn't stick or anything, so you can apply a lot of pressure. Just adding a little bit more to the back. Even though it's got the petroleum jelly on it, fresh green stuff will still stick to the older green stuff. So yeah, I can add more and just keep squishing it down. There, that's pretty much all covered on the inside of the head. I'm going to do the face separately. I want to do the body first and get that out of the way. All I'm wanting to do at this stage is to get the entire body covered, and then I can sort of mould in some basic shapes of basic musculature and the ribs that show through, and a very thin, emaciated kind of body. Let's mix up some more. Now I've got most of the body covered and it's pretty nicely greased up. I'm going to try putting some little shapes in to indicate kind of ribs. Obviously I'm not sculpting an actual skeleton. I'm wanting it to look like the ribs are showing through flesh. So I'm just going to make in some indentations and then just try and smooth it out a little bit. Monster anatomy. It's not a real creature. So who's to say where the ribs would actually be? So I've roughly worked out the rib cage there on both sides. Come on, get into focus. So that's going to be like where the chest muscles are, then joining onto the collarbone. Once I go on to make the actual tendon arms, the tendon limbs, that's then going to join on and it's all hopefully going to come together. I've heard that isopropyl alcohol, when brushed on, can actually help to erase, fingerprints and little marks like that. Just help smooth it out. So I'm going to give it a go. As you can see with the tip of the sculpting tool there, the isopropyl alcohol does indeed make the green stuff very, very soft, and the top layer becomes almost liquid. Good tip. I'm going to be using that going forward.
Well, it's been about 4 days since I filmed that last little bit, and in that time I've been to work and everybody at work's been full of cold. Now I'm full of cold. I've got the dreaded lurgy, as we say in this part of the UK. Lurgies are terrible, terrible things, but I'm just going to carry on sculpting the face out of green stuff now. One of the things that I want to do is to just roll out some bits of green stuff. I can roll those segments into little points and leave that to dry or cure, and then that can be all the little fangs for the teeth. Other than that, this weekend I'm going to be going to the Leeds Fiasco, which is a wargaming show in Leeds, and that's on in 1 day, 8 hours, 49 minutes and 11 seconds. So hopefully I'm going to be feeling a little bit better, because it always rains at Leeds Fiasco, always rains, so I don't really fancy walking around Leeds in the rain with a cold. So hopefully I'll got over the dreaded lurgy by then and I can just walk around and enjoy the gaming show. But right now I'm going to crack on with sculpting the face for Mrs. Stitch. I may or may not fill that gap. I may just leave it because it's going to be on the display shelf like that and no one's ever going to see it. Except there's a mirror at the back of the display shelf, so you will see it. Okay. And yes, also it's been about a day since I did the bit to camera saying about how I had the cold, and I'm feeling much better. Thank you very much for asking.
I'm going to let the tongue dry or cure and the other parts, and then tomorrow need teeth, ears, need some ears, and the rear end needs to have those tendon legs, and also some kind of posterior. So today was the day of Leeds Fiasco Gaming Show, and I mostly went because I want to stock up on paints, because I've been using craft paints for a long time now. These are fine if you really want to save money, which is why I've always used them, because they're really super cheap. But I've been wanting to stock up on paints, so today my mission at the gaming convention was to stock up on paints. As well as the paints, I also got a couple of miniatures, like for example these Robo-Cats, because why wouldn't you want to get some Robo-Cats? And also some Xeno hybrids, because again, Xeno hybrids are really cool, but also if you look closer at them, they're actually doing the see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil, which is just really cool. As soon as I saw they were doing that, I thought yes, I've got to get those, even if it's just for a little painting project sometime. Got some Milliput. Now I've never used Milliput before in my life, because I've always used green stuff. Not for any particular brand loyalty or preference of sculpting this over that. It's just I've always used green stuff, so I've always used green stuff. I may use it on this project. Last night, after I'd finished talking to the camera, that is, I thought I'd take some of the fangs that I'd made and glue them together onto a little piece of well, this is actually the plastic that the green stuff comes in, and I've glued them together into a kind of a fang mouth, kind of top to bottom, and now I can kind of cut them out and see if that might be able to work, if I can trim it down to fit into the side of the mouth. I'm not very hopeful, but it may work. I've also like trimmed a bunch down separately to see if smaller ones might be able to fit in. Basically, I don't want to give up on using the handmade teeth, because the other option is to use something like an old Carnifex head and use the teeth from that. But at this point, I've used green stuff for so much of it that using a creature's fangs now would feel like giving up. I don't want to give up, so I'm going to see if I can do it with the green stuff fangs that I've already made, and if not, let's give Milliput a go. Okay, so I'm just doing a dry fit here just to see if it would actually work, and yeah, I could trim it down further to fit it in, then build it with a little bit more green stuff or Milliput around the edges. But there's something I don't like about it, and that's just how uniform the zigzags are. It's supposed to be a monster. It shouldn't have like these perfect zigzag teeth. That's how a child draws a monster, perfect zigzag teeth. So yeah, I'm going to get rid of that. So instead I'm going to try to fit some of these loose fangs. I think maybe if I drill just a few pilot holes, and instead of having lots of them in a row like you'd get with, like these perfect fangs on your good old Carnifex. Get it? So instead of lining them up in like perfect teeth, as you get on the good old Carnifex head here, if I just have them sort of like loosely pointing out, one random one here, and then another random one there, and then another random one there, a bit like a shark actually. If you look at a shark, they don't actually have perfect teeth, they've just got these like random teeth jutting out all over. Maybe if I do that, that can look kind of monstrous. And in no way should my previous comment about perfectly straight teeth being how a child would draw a monster be any reflection on how the Carnifex sculpt from Games Workshop is. Okay, so I gave up drilling holes very quickly, and I just started to, stick them directly on. And now I just need to do the same to the top side. So I'm holding it upside down in order to make it easy to glue them straight on. Just simply apply some glue to the glip, did I say? A thin layer applied, and then plop, 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 stick them on one by one. Bit of activator, spit sprat, and then it's done. I don't know how I'm doing sound effects. It's been really difficult to actually paint and catch it on camera because I keep having to move the model around in all kinds of weird positions. But basically I just want it to look very, very pale, like it's sickly, like it's raw. And my camera's just fallen down. So I want it to look very, very pale, not necessarily Caucasian, but just kind of like a fetus, where, no matter what colour the flesh will be eventually, all fetuses start off kind of a pinky colour, I believe. I could be wrong. And almost as if it's got sort of layers of flesh removed to go along with the exposed tendons. Obviously I want the tendons to be more pinky. I'll go over with like a red wash or something to really, heighten that even further, for the gore factor. It's been very difficult to actually capture it on camera though, because I've had to keep moving the model around, and the autofocus likes to, change all the time, and also as you're painting you end up leaning further and further out of shot. Happens all the time. So I've just mixed together red and white and added a little bit of yellow, just in different quantities as I've moved around the body. So it's not the same colour, it's patchy, it's deliberately patchy, and I've just sort of stippled it on all around the body, around the front of the body that is, and then on the back I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to use sort of greys, possibly browns as well, to indicate that maybe there's fur there. I don't know, I'm not quite sure what colour I want to go for yet. I think I want it to be sort of like a grey and brown, dark natural colours, partly to match the real life Mrs. Stitch who disappeared, but also I'm going to do the lips kind of bright red, and so I want it to be kind of dark to contrast the brightly coloured red, and the tongue. For the fur, I've been using Vallejo Earth, mixed with a little bit of white, and then adding some fern green, and then a little bit of black, and just sort of stippling it on and shading up with just sort of a striped pattern down the back. I'm going to add a little bit more black now for an even darker pass, and the little bit of fur that covers the crotch, because I'm using the earth colour, which is the same colour that I used for the base, that's hopefully going to sort of blend it in so it doesn't sort of draw attention. The whole point of putting the fur there was to actually kind of try and cover her modesty, so I don't really want to draw attention to it now. That's all, nothing to see here, just painting my monster's bush. I'm going to give it a couple of passes with my homemade mud wash. This is simply those cheap paints I was showing you earlier, just some black and brown mixed together with a lot of water. Hello. I've got some UV resin. I was intending to use the UV resin on the eyes to make them, glossy and shiny, but I can't find the UV resin. No idea where it's gone. So instead I'm going to use some gloss Mod Podge. I'm going to use some gloss Mod Podge on the eyes just to cover those and make those nice and shiny. I'm also going to mix some dark red with some gloss Mod Podge to go in the old brain pan, and then that's going to be like the blood. I'm going to have that trickling down and have it on the mouth as well. And that's pretty much it then. Just going to go around, do a couple of final touches on a bit of light shading and highlights, but it's pretty much done.